In Norse mythology, there is an immense ash tree named Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil means wild tree, but it is not a tree which you or I could climb. Next to the trunk of Yggdrasil lies the miraculous well of Urd. Urd is one of the Norns who live by trees' roots. The Norns are goddesses of destiny, and they are called Urd, Verandi, and Skuld. What was, what is, and what will be. It is said that the trunk and branches of Yggdrasil support the 9 worlds, and that after Ragnarok, Doomsday, Yggdrasil, though badly shaken, would be the source of new life. The 9 worlds are Asgard, the world in which the Aesir, or gods of the Vikings, live in their palaces. The largest palace is Odin's Valhalla. Alfheim, world of the light elves. The light elves are beautiful like the sun, moon, and stars. Nidavedlish, a subterranean world populated by dwarves who mine in the mountains and create wondrous things and remarkable inventions. Midgard, the land of men and women, and the only world which is visible to you and I. Jotunheim, land where the frost and mountain giants roam. Vanaheim, where the Vanir nature gods live. The Aesir and Vanir are peacefully united, and many live in each other's world. Niflheim, the dark mist world. This is where Nidhogg lives, a serpentine dragon that gnaws upon the roots of Yggdrasil. Muspel, a world of flame where Sutra waits. Hell, also known as the realm of the dead, where those who do not die honorably go. It is ruled over by a goddess also named Hel. The following story begins in Asgard. Odin was married to Frigg, and together they had many children. Many of the Viking gods supposedly looked like fairly ordinary people, except for the ones that have missing eyes, magical powers, and shape-shifting abilities, of course. One god who did not look like an average person was Odin, and Frigg's son Baldur. When Baldur grew up, he was beautiful, intelligent, noble, brave, and he made everyone who he spent time with happy. One night, Baldur had strange dreams that foretold some grave misfortune would befall him. Odin and the other gods sought the help of a seer who had experience of prophecies. The seer confirmed that Baldur would die, and this would be the first event that ultimately led to Ragnarok, the end of all things. Frigg was very upset that something ominous would happen to her treasured son. To try and delay whatever was to happen to Baldur, Frigg used her abilities as a sorceress to obtain oaths from every living and non-living thing. She made each thing promise that they would not harm Baldur. This appeared to have done the trick, and the gods made a game out of throwing things at Baldur and cheering with delight as they bounced off him and he was unharmed. Odin's half-brother Loki, god of mischief, saw an opportunity to stir things up a little. "Did you really get an oath from every living and non-living thing, Frigg?" "Oh yes, oaths from all, except the mistletoe. But then it's such an innocent plant. I'd have felt silly demanding an oath from it." Loki slunk away from the game and crafted a spear from the nearest mistletoe plant. He returned and sidled up to Hodor, a god who was blind. "They're always leaving you out of their games, aren't they, Hodor? Here, take this spear and I'll guide your hand and you throw it towards Baldur." The spear sailed through the air and pierced Baldur's chest. He fell dead in an instant. All the gods were stunned and began to grieve the loss of their friend. In between sobs, Frigg asked if anyone would journey to the realm of the dead to persuade Hel to release Baldur. It was Hermod who stepped forward and made the journey astride Sleipnir, Odin's 8-legged horse. In the realm of the dead, Hel was seated on her throne, with Baldur sat next to her as her guest of honor. Hel said to Hermod that if everyone in the 9 worlds mourned for Baldur, then she would release him. But if one being refused, then he would stay. Hermod returned to Asgard, and the gods set about organizing a ceremony for Baldur. They built him a funeral pyre on a ship and placed gifts upon it. Beings from the 9 worlds attended to mourn him: gods, giants, elves, dwarves, Valkyries, and others. All beings except Loki. He'd shapeshifted into a giantess who declared she would not mourn Baldur. Let Hel keep what she has. Therefore, Baldur was condemned to remain with Hel in her realm of the dead. When the gods found out what Loki had done, they swore revenge on him, but first they'd have to catch him. Loki was crafty and a shapeshifter. After weeks of chasing, Thor finally caught Loki by surprising him in a river where Loki had been hiding disguised as a salmon. Thor dragged him by his tail until he assumed his true form, and then the gods tied Loki to a rock. Next, a giantess named Skandi suspended a venomous snake above him. As the snake stretched to try and take a bite out of Loki, venom dripped from its fangs and burned his skin. The burn made Loki writhe and shake in pain. The trembles could be felt throughout the 9 worlds. Loki's wife Sigyn was loyal to Loki, despite his faults, and she remained at his side. To spare Loki's discomfort, Sigyn even held a bowl in which to catch the snake's venom. It is thanks to Sigyn that earthquakes are not very common. When the bowl was filled, she had to turn aside to empty it. In the short time she was gone, the venom dripped on Loki again, and he shuddered once more.